Been so suspiciously curious about the brand Quince. My honest opinion, he's completely surpassed my expectations.
Thank you so much, Quince. I absolutely love everything.
Okay, please. You just get it. You just get it. Wow, that's rough. That's like some Forever 21 sewing work there.
If you're about to buy from the brand Quince, don't do it.
They're going to have to compromise some things on the construction and the quality of their materials.
Not one, but 3 rips. This is the second one on the side, another one on the back. I had just opened this package. They have rave reviews on their website, and I'm very confused.
This clothing company, Quince, has always felt a little off to me. So I investigated all 1,500 of their products because I have this theory that they might be faking it. And what I found shouldn't be statistically possible. 99% of their products have a rating of 4 stars or higher. Those are some Vladimir Putin levels of approval.
Что это за чушь?
Everyone wants to look rich without having to pay rich people prices. And that's exactly what the brand Quince promises. Affordable luxury.
At Quince, we make inexpensive, expensive things. We just flipped the way luxury is made.
I wanted to see how they pull that off. Quince is a Silicon Valley experiment, funded by the same people who back Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg. And their innovation might be the greatest marketing trick of all time. They spend tens of millions of dollars to convince you that they've cracked the code, luxury quality, ethically produced, and low-priced clothes, that you'll be obsessed.
I'm obsessed with this look.
I am obsessed.
I am obsessed.
So obsessed.
I'm absolutely obsessed with the cashmere pieces that I got from Quince.
Except that math doesn't seem like it should work. I wanted to see if the hype matched the reality. And that meant looking through their entire catalog and trying their most talked about pieces for myself. And I found the part of Quince's story that they never talk about. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Quince is an online-only clothing company. The brand burst onto the scene in 2018, promising something seemingly impossible: luxury fashion that's actually affordable. Quince says that they've figured out how to deliver high-quality products using sustainable production at prices that won't break the bank.
Quince's classic cashmere, they have tons of different styles, tons of colors. This would be a great gift for your best friend who deserves something luxe without breaking the bank.
Their first big claim to fame were Mongolian cashmere sweaters. Quince marketed them as designer quality at a fraction of the price, comparing theirs as a superior version of those sold at Reformation and Jenny Kane. And the internet ate it up.
So cute, so soft, the material is great.
Quince cashmere, it does live up to the hype.
They've rode that wave into the peak of quiet luxury. Can't afford Tom Wamsgand's $2,000 Brunello Cucinelli sweater from Succession? Get the Quince version for $100. But when you start looking closer, the details don't quite line up. Their origin story has a few gaps, and their claims about sourcing and factory direct production are vague. Luxury quality, sustainable production, and radically low prices. How can a company promise all 3 at once? Where are the savings really coming from? So I decided to find out. I went through every one of their 1,500 products, dug into the claims, and even picked up the sweater that put them on the map. My goal is to see if Quince is actually delivering on their affordable luxury promise, or if it's just a beige color delusion. Quince says the reason their prices are so low is simple. They skip the traditional supply chain. According to them, they cut out sourcing agents, warehousing, wholesalers, distributors, and retail stores. It sounds pretty revolutionary until you look at it for more than a few seconds. Because even if Quince doesn't use sourcing agents, someone still has to build and manage relationships with factories. Someone negotiates contracts. Someone oversees quality control. That work didn't disappear. So Quince either isn't calling it that, or are just rebranding Alibaba products. And these tariffs, they don't have any special exemption. Quince manufactures most of its products overseas. And there are dozens of Reddit posts about customers suddenly getting slapped with unexpected tariff bills. Quince said it was a mistake. Maybe it was, but someone is paying tariffs, and it's either you or them or both. And then there's the warehouse claim. They say they don't use warehouses, but customers regularly report shipments coming from major US distribution hubs. The things I ordered came from this address. When I Googled it, it's a location for Scan Global Logistics, which is a warehouse and distributor. But the strangest part of this graphic is that Quince claims they cut out the brand, which is crazy because Quince is the brand, and they spend millions of dollars on marketing, social teams, ad targeting, and influencer campaigns.
I am partnering again with Quince this month. I'm so excited about it. Quince gave me a discount code for you guys.
Click the link in my bio to check out Quince. You'll thank me later.
You might not be paying for the brand cachet of Reformation or Vuori, but you are absolutely paying brand expenses. Quince acts like they've reinvented the supply chain, but really the only thing they've reinvented is not having physical stores. That's it. That's the whole innovation. But okay, fine. Maybe their explanation just isn't coming across. What actually matters is this. Is Quince the cheapest option? Because on every product page, Quince has a comparison chart showing that their version is 50, 60, or even 80% cheaper than luxury brands. So I wanted to test that. Going back to Tom Wamsgand's $2,000 Brunello Cucinelli sweater, when I Googled it, a Quince ad popped up for this. But when I click over to the website, they don't compare their sweater to Cucinelli. They compare it to other less premium brands like Paul James and Frankenoak. Except, Paul James actually sells their sweater for $165, not $190, like Quince claims. Frankenoak, I couldn't even find a comparable version. J. Crew. Okay, that one checks out. But is Quince the cheapest? Not even close. Land's End has it for $55. H&M's got it for $40. You can even get it on Shein for $14. Quince sits firmly in the middle of the pricing spectrum, but their marketing frames them as the most affordable designer alternative. And this isn't just me nitpicking. This pattern has gotten Quince sued. Coach's parent company, Tapestry, sued them for selling lookalike bags. UGG and Yeti have filed suits over product resemblance. And just a few months ago, Williams-Sonoma sued Quince for faking their price comparisons, claiming Quince compares its products to items that don't exist, inflates competitor prices on their charts, and then runs ads like Pottery Barn for half the price that simply aren't true. I saw the same thing. Reverse image search almost any Quince product, and you'll find the exact same item with the same photos, sold at Target, Wayfair, Bed Bath & Beyond, and many other places. But Quince banks on you never doing that search because they already did it for you and chose the most expensive comparison they could find. And allegedly lying about it. Quince started with cashmere sweaters. Now they sell rugs, furniture, diamonds, cookware, protein powder, liquid IV, caviar, and even Dom Perignon, which is literally cheaper at multiple other retailers. So is Quince really affordable luxury? Or is it becoming kind of millennial Walmart? Except instead of saving you money, it charges you a premium for this beige aesthetic. To me, Quince cuts out the middleman by becoming the middleman. An expensive dropshipper, if you will. And if Quince isn't actually the cheapest, maybe the real question is it higher quality? Quince's whole pitch is high quality, no ego. Except they never really explain what that means. According to their website, high quality is premium materials, nicer feel, lasts longer. All things that sound great, but are almost impossible to prove from just looking at the product page. So I wanted to test it myself. Quince says that their quality doesn't just match luxury brands, it beats them. So I bought 3 sweaters. A Quince one, the J. Crew one they compare themselves to, and a generic Amazon version. I wore all 3 of these for an entire day just to see if I could tell the difference. And honestly, the Quince sweater feels fine. Not terrible, not amazing. It's soft, but gets a little itchy. And this J. Crew one I'm wearing does feel really nice. It's softer and velvety compared to the Quince version and didn't get itchy at all. And this generic one doesn't even have a label, so I couldn't even tell you if it's real cashmere. But it didn't itch, it's pretty soft, and is half the price of Quince's. All 3 of these look almost identical. If the J. Crew one is A tier and the generic one is a C, the Quince one is a solid B-. But Quince customers don't seem to think so, at least if you believe the reviews. I checked every single product Quince sells, and 99.3% of their 1,500 products have a rating of 4 stars or higher. 95% have a rating of 4.5 stars or higher. Only 9 products have a rating below 4 stars. That's Putin and Kim Jong-un approval rating territory. And like an authoritarian regime, when there are negative reviews, Quince buries them. By default, ratings are sorted by the highest rating and most recent. Then the next highest rating. The few unhappy reviews get shoved to the last page. I'm not saying that Quince is cooking the books, but people on the internet definitely are. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Quince doesn't own its factories. They use partner factories, the same ones that make products for well-known luxury brands. I learned that this is actually common practice in the industry. The same factory that makes a $300 sweater for Ralph Lauren can also make a $25 sweater for H&M on the same production floor, with similar machines, same labor, and sometimes the same exact fabric supplier. This is normal in fashion. So when Quince says, we use the same factories as luxury brands, they're leaving out the part about where those factories also make fast fashion. What they really mean is, we use the same global supply chain as literally everyone else. It seems like they're doing the same exact thing as most mid-tier retailers, but with very misleading marketing. And about the no ego part. In the Williams-Sonoma lawsuit, when they tried to settle privately, Williams-Sonoma says Quince told them they would welcome a public skirmish. Interesting approach for a no-ego brand. They were also sued by the 3 Michelin-starred restaurant, Quince, for allegedly stealing their name. Even their logos look incredibly similar. Can you tell which is which? That case was settled, but Quince's founder, Sid Gupta, did go on a podcast and say,
off the record, we were eating at a sister restaurant to a 3 Michelin star restaurant called Quince in SF. And so we said if it was good enough for a 3 Michelin star restaurant, then it might be good enough for us.
A brand with no ego doesn't clap back at every critic or brag about legal battles. So if Quince isn't the most affordable, and they aren't the highest quality, and definitely not the most humble, then they must be the most sustainable, right? The word sustainability comes up 8 times on Quince's About page, and they have a whole page dedicated to sustainability. Quince says their partner factories are committed to being the opposite of disposable fast fashion, using responsible production, eco-friendly materials, and compostable bags, which all sounds great. Until you start reading the fine print. And by fine print, I mean there isn't any. Their entire sustainability page is just aesthetic pictures. They say they're working toward sustainable materials and committed to responsible production. But that's the thing. They're not doing it. They're promising it. There's a big difference between we do X and we hope to eventually do X, maybe, someday. And then they sprinkle in a few official-looking logos. Impressive. Until you actually check what they mean. This BSCI logo, Quince treats it like a stamp of honor. But all it really tells us is that their factories can be audited for very basic working conditions, like not using slave labor and workers getting breaks. You can find thousands of these BSCI verified factories on Alibaba. It also does not confirm that they passed those audits. It does not confirm compliance. And the results from those audits are completely hidden from the public. Then you've got the Responsible Wool Standard and Global Recycled Standard logos. The Responsible Wool Standard just means that everyone in the supply chain signed a piece of paper saying that they followed certain guidelines. Good standards, but not special. Fast fashion company H&M also uses it. Cool. Basic human decency. But not something that screams, we're saving the planet differently from everyone else. Quince also touts these eco-friendly bags that their clothes come in. Maybe it's just me, but my Quince order showed up in a standard plastic bag. But the part that gets me is 1/3 of Quince's entire brand identity revolves around sustainability. But the actual evidence is pretty much non-existent. The last thing I'll say about sustainability, even if you're able to sell something premium at cheap prices, the math doesn't math. It just means you're enabling people to buy more and consume more. That is not sustainable, no matter how you chop it up. So after digging through Quince's claims, this is what I found. Quince isn't really reinventing anything. They're drop shipping with prettier packaging. They're just selling a better story. If you buy our stuff, you'll feel rich while being less rich. Because if the quality isn't truly luxury, and the prices aren't truly wholesale, and the sustainability isn't actually backed up by evidence, then you're just left paying for vibes and aesthetics. Quince makes okay dupes at an okay price, and sells them next to seemingly rich people things like Dom Perignon and Made in China caviar. If you just like the clothes, that's Gucci. But the idea that Quince is some ethical luxury disruptor is wildly misleading. If you've tried Quince before, tell me your experience in the comments. Was it affordable and luxurious like they claim? Subscribe for more, and watch this video that YouTube thinks you'll love.